Hey, hi, colleagues and everyone. Welcome to the session on what clients expect from us. We know who the clients are, right? To just say in one line, clients are someone who provides us business, so their business can run positively. And so it's important for us to know what the expectations of clients are, and especially with uh, advancements like AI and other factors, the expectations are changing. So to speak on that, I'll invite Laszlo and Inber from EPAM's senior management. Thank you. Yeah, hi Laszlo, hi Inber. Yeah,
Hello, Anis. Thank you. Welcome,
thank you.
everyone. Okay, so thank you very much for joining us today. What we would like to talk about with Enver is, as the title suggests, what clients expect from us BAs. And we will start by showing something what inspired us a bit, but don't worry. It will be not like that. When I was showing this comic to some of my colleagues, the feedback was that, okay, so this is a typical EPAM town hall. Joke aside, it will be not that long, don't worry. So we will start with an introduction about ourselves. Then I would like to ask Enver to talk about his experience. So he's an account executive, one of the leaders of one of the BUs. And afterwards, I will try to go a bit deeper and talk about different kind of client expectations when it comes to BAs in the past, right now, and also some kind of prediction for the future. But first thing first, so Enver, please introduce yourself. Nope, not yet.
What about now?
Now much better.
Perfect. Thank you. All right. Hi, everyone. So my name is Enver. I'm the head of business unit of Pump Systems, co-head of European business. So my team is responsible for the portfolio of clients across continental Europe. This portfolio is aligned to several business industries. These are financial services, insurance, life sciences, and commodities trading and agri-tech. I'm with the PAM for a little more than 20 years, and I joined the company as the second business analyst at the time when it was difficult to believe that we can do business analysis for our clients. And I was doing business analysis and product management for quite some time before I moved into account management in 2013. Based in Switzerland, and yeah, thank you very much, Laszlo. Over to you.
Thank you, Enver. Yes, so I will also briefly introduce myself. So compared to Enver, I'm a newbie at EPAM because I only joined in 2010, and I relocated from Hungary to Switzerland in 2012. And I had the job title of a BA up until 2014, and up until recently, I was leading the Swiss business analysis unit. Currently, in my role, I'm a so-called service and delivery manager working for one of our banking clients. So what we will talk about, and the first topic would be, I want to be a the business executive. Enver, so you have been talking to clients for a long time, and not just line managers on the lowest level, but also executives. So can you please share your thoughts, your feelings about how the expectations and the demands for BAs evolved over these years?
Sure, with pleasure. Thank you, Laszlo. So, in order to share my view on the current expectations from the business analysts, I would probably make a step back to have a very quick walk through how this whole thing evolves, at least from the perspective of me working for one company for 20 years. So, in the interest of time, I'll try to simplify it, but to give you the overall idea. So, 20 years ago, when we didn't know that much about how to do the business analysis, and what we did, we were taking the inputs from business analysts. And business analysts were most on the client side. So we did a lot of requirement specifications. We were trying to digest the materials coming from the client side and make it readable, usable, understandable to our delivery teams, including developers and testers. So most of the, as I said, most of the business analysis were done on the client side. The BAs were coming mostly from the business, and what we did on the service provider side was very close to the extension of the development or testing side of the things. And we were primarily on the technology side, so we were at the beginning of our journey, and we learned a lot from the clients and also from the communities that were forming at that time. So in addition to this, clients also didn't know us from that perspective. They didn't yet build the trust that we as a service provider can do business analysis, that never saw and experienced us knowing their business. So it took some time to create this trust, and at the very beginning of the journey, it almost didn't exist. So at the end, what started a kind of extension to the development or testing over the time became the dedicated function. So we developed a lot of knowledge working for different clients. We accumulated the industry knowledge working for the clients from the same industries. We absorbed experience from different engagements from our clients, sometimes from our competitors, especially when we worked in a mixed teams. And at the same time, by learning from the positive experience, clients had an opportunity to also to build trust and give more and more opportunities to us to perform this type of activities, this type of function. So this is the very, very quick evolution of how we started with the very basic functions to what we're doing now, helping clients to build products, to think through different business scenarios. Then from also important to understand from the demand, overall demand perspective, what was happening in the last decade was extraordinary growth of the demand for overall services, but also had the same impact for the business analysis. So demand was big, and it's not like everyone had a chance, regardless of the skills levels and capabilities, but the entry level or the bar was put pretty low. So as I said, demand was pretty high, but not anymore. So in the current economic environment, what we see, our clients are extremely focusing on getting the maximum value of the money they're spending with us, and they really want to have proactive, creative, competent sparring partner, and that drives certain key expectations that I want to derive from the overall engagement level to what is expected from the from the business analysts. I would highlight four main areas that I really encourage you to focus on. First of all is understanding of the technology. It's still very important. You need to be the technology advocate. You need to keep yourself up to date with the recent technology trends. And you need to be able to translate to your clients what does it mean for us, what kind of opportunities new technologies bring, what kind of trends can be leveraged to provide them with additional competitive advantage. So you need to be technology advisor to your client. Then the industry knowledge. I very quickly mentioned it during the overview of the evolution, but it is extremely important, especially nowadays. So you need to understand the client business, you need to understand the trends, you need to understand the challenges, but you also need to understand the client's organization position within this line of business, the competitive landscape, what kind of programs they run, either to stay competitive or to take advantage of their competitive strengths, and that will help you to not only speak the same language and be on the same page with your client, but also help your corresponding delivery teams to put into the perspective what is the role of IT programs or projects that you are part of in the overall set of priorities for your respective clients, and what are the business goals these particular programs are helping them to achieve. So industry knowledge, technology knowledge. Then next topic that is important is the consultative approach in communication and interaction. You always need to be able to put yourself into the client shoes. You need to listen, discuss, have your own opinion, because if you are advanced in technology, if you are advanced in the business domain your client in, you need to have your own opinion. Clients are not uh, uh, engaging with you just for you to take orders. Client wants to have a very solid sparring partner who can challenge, provide different options, share relevant experience from other engagements, and help to maximize the value out of these discussions, out of this work. So next thing that is important also belongs to the consultative approach is try to, through this constructive conversations, to understand if there is any hidden or unrecognized ask that comes from. So you can easily start discussion from, hey, give me a team or implement me this feature, but you might end up with discussing how to increase the efficiency of the different sales channels, how to increase the conversion rate, which will give you and the client and both of the parties absolutely different type of conversation. And last but not least is the proximity to the client. During the COVID time, we all, probably not all, but lots of us developed quite a bad habit, being able to work from everywhere and anywhere. And that's understandable. That, for example, if we talk about business analysis done from the nearshore, offshore, you cannot always be next to client, but in this case, regular business trip can help. However, if you're located in the same geography as your client, I think nowadays staying next to the client, at least on a regular basis, not every day, especially if the client doesn't want. So still being in a direct contact is a must. So just to summarize, industry, technology, constructive and consultative communication interaction, and proximity to the client. I would encourage you to focus on these four elements. That will definitely help you to be more successful and deliver more values to the clients. Thank you. Awesome.
Thank you, Enver. Talking about proximity, please trust me, I was in the office earlier today. I just came home for this presentation and I will go back to the client's office, so I can assure you. But what I would like to talk about is really a bit of details, elaborate more what Enver was talking about. When I got the brief from our colleagues about this speech or this talk, what I was asked about and what we were asked about is really to think about how things changed in the last couple of years versus right now versus what could happen in the future. And I know that there are also other talks about this topic. For example, the previous one was very much related to this. It's very artificial, but I said that, okay, let's see what was happening, let's see up until 2020. So COVID times. I'm not talking about what happened in the 50s and 60s. First of all, I was not alive. I will not talk about what happened in the 90s and the early 2000s. So this kind of programmers, analysts, how all the BAs started to work. So I'm not covering this. It's more about what happened, let's say, up until quite recently. So how the demand for BAs look like. I'm obviously located in one of the locations called Switzerland, and I have, I would say, more or less knowledge about that one mostly. But of course, I will also trying to view this globally, not just in Switzerland. So what we have seen in the past. So obviously, as the maturity of the relationship with the client evolved, so in the beginning it was always like a very detailed job description when we were receiving like mandatory and nice to have skills and seniority, number of years, and so on and so on. So this is something what we have seen as demand versus at the very end of the scale of the relationship, in many cases just like one-liners. So based on that, what I have seen is that we had basically two kind of BAs recently. So one is the so-called technical BA, and in many cases, especially if I'm talking about this one-liner, what we are receiving from the client, it could be something like this: give me a tech BA like, and then there is a name of another e-commerce BA, and that's all what we got. But when it comes to the technical skills, in many cases, it was really about knowledge of databases, obviously SQL skills, which were very important. In many cases, XML, of course. So that was also something which was demanded. And I remember more than 10 years ago when we started to standardize the way how we were doing technical interviews of BAs. It was really focusing on these skills, and we even had questions about this if the candidate had enough XML and SQL skills. And in some cases, because again, we are talking about a technical IT professional, we were also asked about, okay, if the BA could read logs, and in some extreme cases also it could have been expected that it's not only a BA but also a software engineer who is coding, but this was not happening too often. The other category, what I would like to highlight is the BA all-rounder. So when we are talking about really a BA who is capable of not only, of course, working with requirements, managing requirements, and documenting these requirements, but additional activities as well. And in many cases, what we have seen is that, okay, if the team already had developers and testers, then of course the next one to be added is a BA. And because of that, in many cases, this BA was also doing coordination, for example, within the team, but also outside of the team with other teams. And what we have also seen is, in many cases, not just user acceptance testing, but also additional testing activities were performed by the BAs. And then obviously also this was demanded, and this was also highlighted in the job descriptions what we have received from our clients. Fast forward, so what do we have right now? I would say our current BAs, especially the e-commerce BAs powered by AI, this is something what is now very trendy. And also what I have seen is that in many cases, the same way as we are seeing software professionals being asked to be T-shaped, this is the same when it comes to BAs. For those who are not familiar with this, so I-shaped is basically a person who has one primary skill and experience mostly with this. And then obviously, as the letter suggests, T-shaped is one primary skill and also additional skills as well. And of course, because we have to write books about different things, it's not enough to come up with the term T-shaped. So if you are checking, there is also something called X-shaped, E-shaped, M-shaped. So obviously, more and more primary skills are being added. And because we are running out of Latin alphabet, I have also found something called delta-shaped professionals, when it's really about being able to very quickly change the primary skill of someone, if a primary skill can be changed. But talking about what the current requirements are, as we see it, in many cases, it's not just a BA. So of course, BA requirements engineer for sure, but it's also something else. And what this something else could be? It could be, for example, a proxy product owner or even a product owner. So the BA playing the role of the product owner, or for example, a BA and a Scrum Master. And in some cases, so we have seen this happening, I would not say too often, but from time to time. Let's say that there is a BA who is playing the role of the PO, and suddenly the Scrum Master is leaving the team, and then you are ending up with a BA who is doing a product owner role as well as Scrum Master, and all of these weird constellations are happening. So this is something what happens from time to time as well. Enver was talking about different domain experience, and he was highlighting industry experience, and this is something what we see demanded right now. And what is also very important, in the past, what I have seen is that it was enough to bring in someone who was working in a bank before. But nowadays it could be very, very specific. So not just a bank, but for example, a retail bank, or for example, in a retail bank, experience working with a mobile banking application or something like this. So it could be really, really, really divided down to lowest level, this kind of industry experience. Again, technology skills. So this is something which is demanded right now. And in case of technology, again, we are talking about things like, I don't know, Salesforce or SAP, and also these kind of technology areas could be subdivided into much smaller areas as well. And another example here is when it comes to, for example, regulatory projects. It could be very, very different to others, and this could be also across different industry domains. So, for example, regulatory in banking, regulatory, for example, in pharmaceuticals, and so on and so on. And we could see and we could expect current demand related to this. And I would like to also.
That's a very good point, Laszlo. Very spot on. I think quite often regulatory aspect is left without proper attention. Thanks for bringing it in.
Thank you. And I would like to also talk about currently demanded soft skills. So this is something what we are seeing. First, of course, languages. And what is also quite interesting to see is that we are not just talking about English, which is our primary language when it comes to EPAM, but also other languages. So I have seen request, for example, a French-speaking BA based in Hungary or Poland, or different kind of things. So really not just on-site, but also nearshore, offshore. We can see more and more demand about this. Communication skills, interpersonal skills. So in the last decade, potentially more than in the last decade, especially when the agile approach and Scrum was evolving, we have seen that this is a request for all IT professionals. But especially when it comes to BAs, communication skills, interpersonal skills, ability to build relationships is something which is a must-have nowadays. So I would not even call it a soft skill. It's really something which is approaching towards being a hard skill. And last but not least, of course, you cannot have a presentation in 2024 without mentioning it, GenAI. And I was talking about being powered by GenAI. This is something what we see becoming more and more, I would say, streamlined nowadays, that whenever it's possible, and of course, being careful about the usage of LLMs, it's very important to be more and more experienced with this. I also prepared some statistics because I think it's also interesting to check this. And I'm not talking about demand, what I see in one particular location. This is demand, what I have seen across EPAM globally. I will not disclose how many positions we have currently open, but it's a very, very nice number of positions. And also it's good to see that, because we are not talking about, I don't know, 5 or 10 openings, it's very nice to see these kind of trends coming up when it comes to different primary skills and things. So let me talk about some statistics. And I don't have historical statistics, so I cannot compare this to how the demand looked like 4 years ago. But what I can promise to you, if we are all here, then maybe in 3 or 4 years, we will come back to this and we will see how this was evolving over time. So when it comes to primary skills of BA positions, good news, the primary skill business analysis is the most demanded skill out there. So that's very good. And also we have seen quite a few other openings, so demand from clients about, for example, business intelligence analysis, business consulting. But what is also interesting to see is there are many other requests there. So when it comes to primary skill of the BA position, such as, for example, compliance, or for example, payment card industry, or robotic process automation. And these are really primary skills of the BA roles, what we have open. English level is something what I would like to cover. This is, again, as I feel, is changing. Right now, approximately 60% of the demand what we have is requiring upper intermediate English level, and also a good 10% is requiring fluent English. And what was also interesting to see is that we have more native English speaker BAs required than those who don't have to speak English at all, at least like A1 or below. So that was also quite surprising for me. Other languages. So this is something what I mentioned before. So it's not only on-site locations when we are seeing that, okay, in Switzerland we have to speak German or Swiss German, but also elsewhere this is becoming more and more demanded. So not only Western Europe, but also elsewhere. And what is also interesting is that there are so many languages which are demanded, and many of these languages are considered as niche still because of the number of these demanded language profiles what we are looking for. It's not something what I consider niche anymore. So I have seen requests where we wanted to where we had to provide, for example, Arabic speakers, or I have seen that, okay, we need a BA who is speaking Brazilian Portuguese, so not just Portuguese but Brazilian Portuguese, and also some exotics, at least here in Europe, it sounds like exotic to look for someone who is speaking Thai or other languages. I was also reviewing the seniority demand, and also what was very interesting to see is that there's a nice Gaussian distribution out there. So when it comes to the A track, then the most demanded BA seniority is the senior in our scale, and then as you see, we have A to A4 approximately the same number, and the same about junior and chief. And of course, this is also something which is good to see. So the advanced engineering, so advanced BAs are also something which are demanded, not that much, but it's definitely something which is a visible demand. I would like to also talk very briefly about statistics related to must-have skills and nice-to-have skills. So on the top of the list, of course, there are a lot of skills which are about being a business analyst, so requirement management, documenting user stories, and so on, followed up by various agile skills. So, for example, being able to play the Scrum Master role or working in Scrum and such. Data skills are something which are currently very demanded, as well as tools which are related to all of these what I mentioned. And what is also interesting to see, altogether in all the openings what we have, there are more than 300 must-have skills, meaning that really at least one skill is asked about one role what we have open, and out of these we have more than 300. So this was quite interesting to see. And let me progress with some kind of forward looking. Again, this is something what I see and what I think. Maybe I will be totally wrong. We will see. I will see really in the future how this prediction evolved. What we are getting asked many times nowadays is, will GenAI replace BAs? My answer to this is, I hope not. My honest answer is I really don't think that it will happen. But I think what is also very important is to focus on those kind of skills, those kind of experiences, what Enver was also mentioning. And I would like to highlight again some of these once again. Talking about consultancy. So consultancy is not just a mindset, but it's more than that. So really it's about being able to be there for the client and being able to consult. And as I ever mentioned, not just to blindly execute whatever is given to you. And Ark was talking about recently this, so customer focus for real. So not just saying that, of course, we are client focused, but really as much focused to the client as possible. So that's something what I see as important and interesting things to learn in order to stay competitive. The other thing what I think could be something what we could foresee as future demand is related to, of course, AI and the ethics around that. So right now I see that we are currently AI powered, and potentially the way towards being AI native is something what is required. The same way as currently everyone is using Jira or Confluence, and we are able to write a user story very easily. We are native in Outlook because we are writing dozens and dozens of emails every single day. I think what could potentially happen in the future is that we have to have this kind of native skill set when it comes to AI as well. Of course, we will have a lot of tools and platforms related to AI, and not just the language models, but also everything around. And of course, it could also happen that we will have more and more positions which are about building these tools, building these platforms, the same way as we are doing it, for example, when it comes to cloud and when it comes to other services, what our clients are offering to their clients. And last but not least, and this is about the ethics part of this category. So it could also happen that the future BA would be there to fight bias, to protect privacy, to do those kind of things what we see LLMs currently not really doing very well. And of course, you are building an LLM, you get into the news, but if you are doing something like what we have seen in the case of Google, but also there are so many other examples there, it can happen that there is some kind of big problem happening, which is just a malfunction of the LLM, and still you are ending up again in the news just with a I would say a bit more negative. And this is something where I could foresee that the BAs could really help. The other thing what I would like to mention is product, which is again mindset, and not just the mindset. Currently, we are having lots of BAs who are acting as proxy POs or POs, and I could see more and more this. So BAs going towards being product focused. And of course, it's very important to know what the current technology is capable of, and going to the clients and offering this the same way as we are offering our GenAI capabilities to our clients. But what I also see very, very important is to really focus on the problem, really focus on the need of the client, and do this much more. I keep saying that the best requirement what we can do for a client is a requirement what we are not doing at all. So if you are being asked about something to do, ask why 5 times, and maybe it turns out that it's not even required at all, and the client is the happiest if we are not spending time and effort and of course money on something which is not required. So this is why I would say that please stay focused on the problem and try to understand if this is something which is really needed or not. And the last thing what I would like to cover is really the skills, so hard skills and soft skills. Already right now we see a lot of demand which is about, let's say, banking or insurance or pharmaceuticals, or life sciences BAs, and some kind of technology experience as well. But I could foresee that we would have much more of this. So certain very particular domain knowledge and a certain very particular technical skill alongside, and this could be demanded. And regarding languages, you may ask yourself, so if you can buy something from Indiegogo, what you put into your ear, so this kind of earpiece, and it will translate from 200 languages to your native language, is it something what is really required? I don't know. Maybe not, maybe yes, but what I know is that we had such kind of equipment also years ago, and still, as of today, this is not something which is making language skills not required at all. So I think it's still important. And what I would like to recap, so recapping this kind of recap, so what I think we should all work towards. So really get used to this kind of consultancy mindset, be closer to the client, continue learning AI the same way as a language, be native at it, take care of the product, but also focus on the problems and needs of the client. And last but not least, I'm not saying that, okay, you are finishing your 8 or 8.5 hours and then you go and learn 2 or 3 hours on your own, but hopefully you will be able to find the way how you can embed this kind of learning experience into your daily job, and then you can learn all of these skills while you are working. And this is, I really hope that this will be more and more possible. And regarding language skills, so many of us were relocating to other countries from our native countries, and what I also see is that this is an opportunity. So settle in, integrate yourself, learn the local language, and this will hopefully also make you more and more competitive as the years are advancing. So that's all what we wanted to cover today, and we still have approximately 10 minutes for questions and answers.
Yeah. Thank you, Laszlo. Thank you, Enver, for the wonderful session. It actually gives us a good focus on what we need to concentrate on. We have a couple of questions. I'll just read it out. So one question is, yeah, from your experience, how often does it happen that a BA that has certification in some technology is more demanded than the one who has no certification but more experience with that? And in general, do you see any increase in popularity of certified BAs?
I'm going to share my view. Laszlo, please feel free to contribute with yours as well. In my view, the practical experience or with solving challenges in the eyes of the client has a little bit higher value. However, it's in certain scenarios, especially when it comes to regulatory and compliance set of engagements, some of the certifications and proven knowledge certification that this knowledge exists in a structured way is really required. It could be just a blocker for you being part of this engagement. However, in my view, practical knowledge has significant value. One can have as many certificates as needed, but certificates without practical knowledge of delivering things uh, provides a little bit less value than the other way around. Laszlo?
Yes, I totally agree. The way how I see a certification is something like a boundary what you are jumping above. So let's say that you could do some kind of basic IREP certification already before you are working as a BA. But what I find more meaningful is that you get some kind of experience, and then when you feel that okay, so I have enough, then I'm jumping over this boundary. So that's how I see this. Of course, you may ask yourself, okay, but if I need to have experience before I'm getting the certification, how will I start my first BA job? And this is a very valid question. Um, that's not so easy, but this is why, for example, in EPAM we have so many mentors, so many ways how it's possible to change from one discipline to the other without you are getting serious experience in that one.
Thank you, Enver and Laszlo. The other question is, as a BA, how do you challenge the client's established way of doing things? And I'll just add one more question to it, like, and what's the hardest position we filled in?
How how do we challenge the established way of working? I would say first, I would recommend to understand why this was established in the way it works now. This is a very important starting point before you start challenging. Sometimes what can look a little bit strange from the outside view might have certain reasons, historical reasons, or any other reasons. And getting this right helps you to then uh, positively and constructively challenge the status quo. Laszlo, what do you think?
Definitely. So what is very important is that this kind of challenging cannot be done from day one. So of course, if you are brought in already as a consultant, you have to ask the tough questions very early. But what is very important is to also feel how the relationship with the client is evolving, and then obviously challenge more when you already feel that okay, now I'm more into the domain and the specifics of this client. So this is when you can challenge more. That's how I feel. And regarding the other question, so the hardest position to fill, so globally I don't know, but in the last couple of years I was very fortunate to feel altogether probably around 200 BA positions. And one of the hardest ones was about so very early COVID, when we basically had no relocations, no movements, nothing like this was happening in Switzerland. And then we received a request to find right now Hungarian speaking BA. And yeah, so of course in the local market we could take a look around, but a language which is not spoken really in the country just by expats, and not being able to use the staffing channel what we had that time 99% of the cases, so relocation. So this was very, very hard, but this is why it was very good to have a network, an EPAM network and the Hungarian EPAM network, because we could reach around and then we could find someone. And still as of today, this PA is with us, and I'm very happy about that.
Okay. I think there is a related question which says like, how often do you face with incorrect understanding of BA job by client? I hope Enver and Laszlo have answered it. I'll just move on to the next question, which says, how can we combine the requirement for increasing the number of main or side skills, T-shaped and related, with more and more narrowed specialization, not just industry specific, but much more granular focus?
So that's a very good question, and I would not say that on top of my head I can answer it. But what I see. So first of all, the delta shaped professionals. So the ability that someone already learned 10 different technologies and 10 different domains, bringing this person in and saying that, okay, you were asking about a BA who is experienced in this domain and this technology, and we have someone who is experienced in a very similar domain and very similar technology, plus also many other things what the person was learning in the past years. I would say this is something which is very powerful. And then basically you don't have to be experienced in every single domain and technology, which is anyhow impossible. That's my first thought. The second one, so I really hope that with the advancement of Gen AI and really the way how it is changing the learning experience, maybe it will be easier to learn things as we are progressing. Maybe, or maybe you don't have to go that deep as we had to previously, because we can rely on Gen AI, and of course also we can rely on all the competencies what we have, and not just the BA competency, but also all the other domain embassies what we have. And my last thought is really you need to have more and more experience, and then hopefully this experience will help you to have those kind of skills which are demanded by the clients. That's how I say this. I don't know how you see it, Enver.
Thank you.
Well, I would add that it really depends. So the question was, how would you combine the increasing number of T-shaped and with very narrow specializations? Or you look at it from the client perspective, the ask is very relevant. So people the clients wants to have uh, sparring partner who understands the industry problematic or technology problematic end to end, but still can do a deeper dive into the problem area of the client. So what I would recommend for you guys as a business analysts, uh, it's probably not contradicting with what me and Laszlo said. So you need to have a quite wide horizon of knowledge, but if you follow the trends of the industry, or if you follow the trends and priorities of your client with the combination uh, of Gen AI and other sources that help you, you can definitely develop more narrow, specific knowledge. But this focus will shift over the time if you follow the trends and follow the priorities. But if you follow this and then you will do a deep dive into this, into that, it will add way more value to you as a specialist. So you will gonna become the universal soldier in a certain domain. I think it's a exciting journey.
Thanks, Enva. So one last, I see it's an interesting question. How much development or coding knowledge is expected from a BA from client side?
Yeah. My wife is and she's watching, I hope. So she keeps saying that it's so funny that I have a job title with the software engineer, and I was never working in an organization, a serious organization as a software engineer, and still I have an experience of being a BA for many, many, many years, and afterwards also in other roles. And throughout being a BA for 10 years or so, I was never asked to do any kind of coding at all. During these years when I was staffing many BA roles, I have never seen a serious request when it was expected that the BA has to code and implement some kind of things. And those positions where our BAs are implementing something, so I would not say that this is a pure BA, but it's more like, I don't know, a data analyst position and things like that. So I don't really think that this is something which is that important for the future.
I would add that even before joining about 20 years ago, when I was still on the way to become the business analyst in the company where I worked before, so my mentor was even asking me not to look into the development, to keep some, some part of my mind open uh, for, you know, let's say for different uh, ways of thinking how to tackle the problem, not from the implementation and resolution perspective, but from rather creative. I'm not saying that development is not a creative thing, but once you get more into the details, into the technology, you already have to face some limitations of technology. So what is really amazing about business analyst work is that you, without going into the depths of the technology, you can think beyond the boundaries of the technology. Then, of course, your development teams and architects will make you real, but that's going to be the second stage.
Thank you, Enva. Thank you, Laszlo. I think, yeah, we are done with the questions. Anything else, Laszlo?
Yes, one more thing from me. So what I wanted to say is really thank you very much for joining us today. And I'm using on the right side my favorite stock photo what we have on elements.epam.com. And my message to all of the current BAs of EPAM, and not just EPAM, but all the BAs out there and all the future BAs. So be curious, like this kid on the left side, but also stay very skeptical, like the one on the right side. Thank
Yeah.
you.
Thank you, Laszlo. Thank you, Enva, for a wonderful
Thank you very much.
session. Yeah. Have a nice day. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye bye.
Okay, guys, thank you for being with us today. It's the end for day 2 of PA Excellence Conference. I hope you enjoyed it. And also, I want to invite you for the next day full of soft skills for BAs in 2024. Why it's important to have leadership skills. Also, we will deep dive into system analysis and data driven approach. And also, we will try to create our own BA assistant with ChatGPT, talking about AI. Okay. So thank you again for being with us. Thank you for subscribing to our socials. Don't forget to put notifications and the bell in on our YouTube channel not to not miss the next days of this conference. We will have the same 2 hours each day on Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. Hope you will like it. And yeah, see you guys.